we go to Yakima and Tri Cities a lot
Oh.
for my kids' baseball.
Oh yeah.
This baseball, I've been to Yakima. I've actually been both this summer already for tournaments. And what's funny is we've never been to Wenatchee for a tournament. It seems like they must have tournaments in Wenatchee.
Yeah, and you know what? I grew up there, but I think Wenatchee is so superior to Yakima.
But Yakima's in Palm Springs of Washington.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I stayed at about every low-cost hotel in Yakima there is. Even the Hojo, which is like bottom of the barrel.
I believe it.
Totally. All right, I'm just asking a couple questions.
Okay.
So Lily, tell us about your favorite experience with Alaska Airlines.
Oh wow, my favorite experience with Alaska Airlines. Oh gosh, I should have read the questions beforehand.
I can ask you a different one if you want.
Yeah, and then I'll think about that.
Okay. What do you think Alaska does that other airlines don't do?
What does Alaska Airlines do that other airlines don't do? I think have a sense of self that's based in geography. Especially before the merger, like very much Pacific Northwest sort of sense of self. And I guess Delta is based out of Atlanta, but it doesn't ever feel for me like it has that same sort of connection. I think that customer service experiences at Alaska are generally very good. So I've had some, bad travel situations where, like, I was flying home for Christmas the year that Alaska ran out of de-icer, like everywhere, and it was like people had some. I slept in the airport in Seattle with a whole bunch of other people, but there are all sorts of little things that, gate people did along the way to, like there's a woman who routed my bag separately from me. She was like, so we can try to get everything there better. And like, there were little touches that made the experience so much less bad than it could have been given the less than ideal situation.
All right. You talked about service. What role do you think the flight attendants play in your experience and just our service in general?
The flight attendants, because I think about like the service starting really from the gate person, because I'm often wanting to change, like, if you're flying for work, maybe you got there earlier and you want to see if you can switch to a different flight, or like trying to make sort of different last minute changes. But then focusing on the flight attendants, I think they can, set, in addition to the stuff they have to do, like make sure you're on board and close the doors and like do the safety things. I think they can sort of set the tone in terms of if a flight attendant is clearly frustrated and over everything, like people are traveling, they're probably frustrated and over everything as well. And so that can sort of set a tone, whereas if a flight attendant is happy or quirky or I feel like you can kind of tell when someone's being authentic. It can take you sort of out of your own experience and sort of set a tone of like, all right, I'm gonna be in a different mind space around this.
Yeah.
Do you think the announcements on the flight, do they kind of help with that too? Does that play a role in that?
Yeah, definitely, because I think like I flew this week and there was one flight where the pilot like made an announcement, and it was just it's all the same stuff, but it just sounded authentic to his voice, and it seems like welcoming, and it like I just think so helps set tone. And I can think of flights where the flight attendants have been like quirky, just had some sort of quirk that again is like, oh, that's breaks up the monotony of experience, and you sort of like perk up for a second and pay attention and are entertained. And then I think that also can help in making people happier when traveling.
Definitely.
For sure. So maybe we'll come back to the earlier question. Can you think of any favorite experiences on Alaska?
Any favorite experiences? I don't know if I have a favorite, but I think, like an experience that I had recently, I got to the gate very late, and I needed to check a bag, because my boyfriend wanted to take BART and I wanted to take an Uber, and we took BART, and Uber was the right option. And so there was a lot of drama around like, could I get on the flight? Could he get on the flight? Could my bag get on the flight? And like, it all like worked out in the end. Like at one point, you know, one of the people at the gate was like on the phone with someone, and I heard him or her say, well, I can run the bag to the plane. And I was like, I can also run my bag to the plane. And they got me on, and they got my bag on, and like I made it, and it went from like, this is a terrible situation to like, great, it all worked out. And so I guess it's like a recent good experience.
That's great. Any similar experience with reservations? Like calling in?
With calling in, yeah. I mean, I've called in to use the companion fare. So this happened a couple times where I've like used a companion fare, and then my travel has changed for work reasons. So then I need to break up the reservations and maybe use the credit later. And I think the last time I did that, I called someone and they like helped me use the credit in the most, like in the way that I got the most benefit that I hadn't thought of. So like I thought it was going to be one situation, and she was like, well, actually you can do it this way. That was better for me.
Okay. What can we do better? What can we do to be the best West Coast airline?
I think for me is flying to more places and having better connections. Like especially being routed through Seattle to go to the East Coast. If it's like in the the Southeast, it just seems crazy to go through Seattle to go to Atlanta or something like that, especially when there could be routes through LA, or that's how it appears to me, because I go and I check, and from LA it's like, oh, that would be a much better option. So
what do you think about the role of consistency in service, how that impacts you as a guest?
The role of consistency in service, I think for some things it's like, if the consistency isn't there, it can be very frustrating, because you can make plans, like, you can form an expectation, like I have TSA pre-checks that will take me about this long to get through security, and you sort of plan around that, and then if something goes wrong, you can easily go from like, I'm right on time to I'm not going to make it. So when the consistency of service is important to sort of keeping everything on track, I think the absence of it can be very frustrating. But on the other hand, I think sometimes a little bit of variance that's like just a surprise that's meant to be delightful can be a really pleasant break from that consistency, if that makes sense.
Yeah, great. Anything else you want to share?
I don't think so.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Great.
Thank you.